Hi everyone, this is Mehmood Sheikh, and in this video I'm going to discuss about a procedural oriented approach. In my last video I started this tutorial series with the introduction of C++, and at the end of my previous video I have already told you that there are two approaches in C++ to develop the or to write the program. Okay, one approach was procedural oriented approach, and the second approach was the object oriented programming approach. Okay, so you can also call it as procedural oriented programming as well. Okay, so now as we know that there are two approaches, so in this video we will try to cover what is procedural oriented approach. Okay, and in our next videos we will see what is object oriented approach in complete detail. Okay, so now let us discuss each of these points one by one. Okay, so now what our first point says is it's one of the programming language approach. Okay, so as I already told you that there are two approaches, procedural oriented approach and object oriented approach, and this is one of the programming language approach. Okay, now the second point says it specifies well structured steps and procedures to compose the program. Okay, so in procedural oriented programming what we do is we divide the entire program into structured steps and we make functions to make the larger program. Now the next step says it uses procedures or functions to develop a program, and the fourth, here programs are written in one or more functions. Okay, so both of these points are almost all same. Okay, so in procedural oriented programming we uses procedures or functions to develop a program, or here programs are written in one or more functions. Okay, so here the complete program is made up with combining various functions or procedures. Now the next point says each procedure performs specific tasks. Okay, so in our entire program we might have created many functions. Okay, and each and every function or procedure will be performing various tasks. Okay, let us suppose I want to write a program which can insert a data inside the database, which can read the specific information from the database, which update the information from the database, and which delete the information from the database. And now all these four tasks, okay, and now all these four functions can be considered as tasks. First task is to insert a record, second task is to view a specific record, third task is to update, and fourth task is to delete a record. Okay, so now I can consider these four functions as my task. Okay, and I'm using these four functions to perform these specific tasks of inserting, viewing, updating, and deleting. Okay, now the next point says data is passed from one procedure to another procedure. Okay, so apart from creating individual functions or procedures, we can pass the data from one function to another function as and when it is required. Okay, so but in object oriented programming also we can do the same thing, but in object oriented programming we can use objects to communicate between one function to another function. Okay, now the next and last point says in procedural oriented programming main function is responsible for calling each and every function or procedure in an entire program. Okay, so now in procedural oriented programming there will be a main function which controls each and every function. Okay, as you can see here in this diagram. Okay, suppose there is a program and there are 5 functions, and main program will be responsible in controlling all of these 5 functions. Okay, so that's what this last point says. Okay, so this is everything about procedural oriented programming. Okay, so what oriented programming says is that in procedural oriented programming the entire program is divided into various functions and modules or procedures. Okay, which are designed to perform some specific task. Okay, and they can pass the data from one function to another function, and there will be a main function which controls all the other functions. Okay, so this is everything about procedural oriented programming or approach. Okay, so I hope you understood what is procedural oriented approach and programming, and that's all for this video. If you like this video, click on like button, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. And thanks for watching.